Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with me, AirsickHydra. We're going to be doing a replay here of myself playing as the Word Eaters against the dreaded Imperial Navy. That's right, we're going to be trying to crush down some loyalist scum, and we're going to be using our carrier fleet in order to do so. Now, it's not a particularly amazing fleet, but I do think it can be used to some effect, and you can certainly have a little bit of fun with it. So that's what we're going to try and do. You notice I'm rocking the Bloodletter boarding parties, and we also have the passive, which gives us 20% critical hit boarding action chance, raising it up by a fair bit. I think that gives us a total bonus of 40%, which brings us sadly only to 50, so still nowhere near in the starties, but hey, it'll have to do. But let's see how we do now. We have sent out 12 total squadrons thus far in the formation of 3 groups of 4, and he has sent out, or presumably he, 2 squads of 2. So it looks like mine should be winning here. However, thanks to the awesome pathfinding of said units, they walk straight past each other, head off into the sunset, which is a bit unfortunate because this squadron's now going to head out and die without being able to do much turret damage. The others are going to take more damage, and well, that kind of sucks. So next time I think we're going to have to rethink that strategy, perhaps place all 3 of them on a single target and have my units slightly more converged. That might be a better thing to do. So next wave of fighters are heading out and over on the offense. Now, the downside here is I've gone for the offense, which means I am at a disadvantage because he's generally going to be able to stack more on the defense than I can on the offense. However, we do have the advantage of being more carrier heavy, so we again have a total of 12 squadrons. However, as you can see, I've already lost 1 fighter squad, so this isn't really ideal, and now I think it's going to be a good time to get my guys out of there. He doesn't have a flagship. We've been keeping an eye open there, so that flagship presumably is hiding on the edge of the map somewhere ready to micro warp jump in. So we're going to get our ships to turn around now. We've baited him towards us, that's absolutely fine, and now we're going to move in the opposite direction. Flagship is probably not going to make it out of torpedo range, but we can activate the thruster on the others and try and get as far away as we can. And let's see if these are melter or regular torpedoes. We'll find out in just a moment. How much is this going to hurt? Unfortunately, it was regular. If it was melter, we could have done a repair, or no, we couldn't because we have already repaired. So another 2 torpedoes there tickled, so a decent amount of damage there for a volley, really, and you see my fighters slowly being trickled down. And a lone set of fighters here for himself, so we're going to be able to use ours to go out and tackle those. But meanwhile, we are capturing a few points on the map. Does seem that one of the escorts slipped past my group there, but hey, that's all very well and good, and it looks like the enemy fighters are near enough dead, so that's a good thing for us. That's going to come in handy, although ours are pretty much out as well. So we kind of traded fighter for fighter. It's maybe not the best move in the world, but I think it's something that we'll have to do for this game, although perhaps I would make the argument of being defensive would probably give you an advantage. However, you have to be defensive and yet still try and capture stuff on the map. So I'm not exactly sure in this situation if it's good to send things out when you have an advantage or to wait. I don't know. We'll have a think on that one. But meanwhile, he's trying to chase me down. We decided to split up our units here, divide and conquer as such. So the plan is to spread him out and split him up, and obviously that probably won't work. He'll just chase me as one cluster. But it does mean that I then don't have to micro so much, and I believe I should be able to avoid him for long enough to keep myself relatively safe. So sending in some bombers, but of course 1 unit of fighters, even from himself at a tier or squadron level 2, is going to be enough to take out mine, so that's going to be a little bit unfortunate. We're going to get our first lightning strike there. We might get a couple of crits. Let's have a see. Do we get a crit? Deck damage though, always nice. We just about managed, I think, to avoid this torpedo. Oh, that was pretty close, but time to thrust our way out of here. Troops dying slowly for the enemies, down to 7 on that ship, and there come the squadrons for myself. Now that looks like they could be boarding torpedoes. It looks like they are indeed, so we're going to use our engines to get the hell out of there as fast as we can. We are also on brace for impact right now, which is, although perhaps not preferable in terms of generating as much as we can in terms of engine manoeuvring, for the short-term burst I needed of damage, I think the bonus 50% was perhaps reasonable, but maybe not the correct choice still. So flagship's heading on down, and this is our main meat and potato for this faction. Nice cheeky ram there, probably a few torpedoes being taken by myself too. So we're going to get the boarding actions in here. We're going to get 1, and we're going to get the... Oh, that's not the right button. There, and... Oh, get out of there, Hydra, get out of there! That is unfortunately an enemy flagship up in my face. Now, probably not the best direction to be heading my ship off in. Perhaps a little bit of a panic click there, just getting it the hell out, but it is somewhere safe. His actual flagship has 8 boarding stacks on it, so that's going to be nice too, and hopefully we get a few crits there. Only doing 1 boarding damage per attack. Not ideal. If he were to go into... Oh, excuse me. If he were to go into Call of Arms right now, he would actually be mitigating that completely. So that's one of those situations... Oh, no, I did 2 damage just then. It's one of those situations, though, where Call to Arms, now there's not much going on down there, could perhaps be viable, but again, there are lots of other abilities that would take priority over that. So we're going to try and get into a range where we can do a boarding action here with this ship, or are we? Perhaps we're running away. Slightly damaged ship on the far left here. Looks like it's taken a volley of torpedoes to the face yet again, but fortunately the generators are still working and we have our shields up on the up. So we do have some bombers, we do have some dread claws which are able to strip the troops off of enemy ships, so that's something we can keep an eye on, and we do have some boarding actions which we should really start using, but we're taking a bit of broadside damage and we need to be careful. Now, the enemy flagship's going to be dropping down into the yellow. That's a damaged engine, kind of handy to have. Once they drop from green to yellow, you're going to get that extra free crit once they go down from there, and that's always going to be handy. So some extra damage coming in here from myself, and our boarding torps might make it. Are they going to make it? Not quite. 6 stacks on the enemy though. That might be just about enough to strip the crew down, and we still have a ship over on the far hand side. Our flagship miles off into the distance, not really contributing anything right now, which is a little bit unfortunate, and a bit of a derp on my part, really sending it quite so far away. Not contributing any firepower, and boarding actions basically are the main thing that the flagship will need to be contributing this battle in order to win. Now, we are up on points right now, but the enemy is capturing a second point down below, and I only have 3 ships, so it doesn't need to... There's not a lot of damage required in order to basically ruin my day and make me have a bad time, but... Slowly taking more and more torpedoes, but flagship is fairly healthy. We have the bloodletter boarding parties up and ready, and we have the micro warp jump nearly coming off of cooldown. So the enemy flagship thrusting off into the distance there to try and avoid my boarding torps, and it seems that we might be able to get a boarding action off, and we might be able to get the bloodletter party and even micro warp jump out of there. That's pretty good. Just about in time to avoid his flagship. No, we did take the melter torpedoes, but fortunately those can be repaired. So always I guess nice to bait out or repair the melter torpedoes, but perhaps I would prioritise if you know they're going to run away using the others. Maybe not. Maybe actually forcing the repair is a good thing, because now I can't use any morale stances. But anywho, our point here is being taken. Cheeky monkey. We've sent out bombers. Hopefully they're going to try and scare him off, although it looks like we've got enough DACA here to take him down, or we would if we weren't now facing, which is unfortunate because most of our damage is broadside. And we did hear the actual the audio for the micro warp jump, and we've been able to make our way around the back of his unit, so that's going to be handy here to get the hell out of there. Unfortunately, red ship down here, that's going to be a little bit of a problem, and it looks like we have some bombers heading on in. Okay, we should be able to send out some of ours, which are going to tie up his, and that should mean we're pretty safe to go, and that should keep this unit alive for a little bit. There we go, tying up his units, nice and handy, and buying us a little bit of time. Bombers returning back from their run. I don't even know if they were successful or not. I honestly... yes, they were going off for the escort, weren't they? I was going to say I couldn't quite remember what they were up to. And we have our flagship hiding up here, who's just kind of chilling right now. We still have a couple of bombers. We still have 1 boarding squadron of Dreadclaws here, which could, in theory, do some work. He sent off counter-boarding units against myself, and we, of course, have some fires on us, which is just wonderful. Time for a cheeky repair, and again to ride off into the sunset. And unfortunately, another set of bombers down here. This is the headache of playing against carrier fleets. Now, we do step out of the circle here, but it is in the name of avoiding being boarded, so I'm not exactly sure if it was worth it, but hey, we went for it. Still, unfortunately, 18 turrets on the flagship and no fighters here, which is a real pain. And a lot of rams heading on for my flagship, so that's pretty painful. 10 boarding stacks, so on the enemy, that's going to be a scuttled ship. And we do just about have enough units to stay alive. Now, we are 700 units up, but he has cornered my flagship, and I think it's safe to say my flagship's going down. We've got 19 seconds until I can get out of there, and that's going to be a nice 400-point boost for him, give or take a little bit, so that's going to be a little bit scary. Now, we do have boarding actions still. We've still got one more left for this ship, and then we're off to lightning strikes, so off we go with that. 14 troops left for the enemy, and there is my flagship ready to run away. And the enemy as well only has 1 point right now, but does have a couple of escorts floating around the map as we speak. We have a few bombers left, and we are trying to counter-capture. Now, these escorts have been sat there for the majority of the day doing absolutely nothing. They could have been contributing a little bit of damage. However, I guess it's worth keeping in mind that this build, or fleet rather, that I'm rocking right now really isn't there for damage. It really is just stripping crew. It's quite hard actually to kill anything with this fleet, but we're doing our best and slowly whittling them down. Bomber runs can certainly do a little bit of damage, but if you don't take out torpedoes and you don't take out turrets successfully, you're going to have a bad time. Now, ergo the boarding torps, and it does seem that there's still 1 or 2 units left there. We've taken some more torpedoes to the face, and there's still 8 crew left, but we do have 3 boarding actions left on this ship, which should be enough to take down those 8 crew nice and easy. So I think that's going to be what the priority is right now. Boarding, and we also have bombers there at the same time. That's a nice little spike of about sort of 200 or 300 damage. Very nice to have. And red units everywhere for the enemy right now, but only 400 behind me, and still probably has a slightly healthier position in terms of ship quantity overall, and I'm running pretty damn low on all of my fighters right now. I don't have any fighters. I think I've got a couple of bombers left. Drifting Hulk down here. Will it get repopulated? We'll find out soon if there's anyone breeding on board. And escorts sneakily capping over here, but fortunately the amount of red crewed ships that we've done are really saving the day here, because the engines on most of these ships have been taken down, and it's allowing us time to basically get all of and cycle through all of these boarding units and bombers, etc. Pretty rough, pretty tough, but it looks like we might be able to pull through this one fairly successfully. See, the enemy started to spread out, probably recognizing that now that points are a fairly big deal. And you can see down south again that region is being captured back, so that might end badly for myself if I'm not paying attention. Seems that his units have decided to chase mine as well. Not exactly sure what's going on there with his AI. Yep, there we go. Looks like we're about to lose a point. That's unfortunate, but bombers heading off on the way, and slowly we'll begin the journey of trying to whittle him down. And we do also have a nearby escort which could be used to help recapture this point a little bit quicker. Now, I might not be able to take him down. We do have a lightning strike that's fortunately just come off of cooldown, so that's going to be able to scuttle him once more. And here we have an escort. Oh, that's not looking too good for our ship. Oh dear, that's a sad panda. Still alive though, hanging in there on 35 health. That's looking pretty rough. And okay, 2,000 points left to go. We have 2 points left. Sorry, 2,000 points left to go. 700 points left to go, near enough. But we are losing a little bit of map control, so this could start swinging in the enemy's favour, but we'll see what we can do. Red ships everywhere with lots and lots of crew missing right now, so the bloodletters have really done their work. The boarding parties have done their work. It's a bit of a slow fight. It's a bit of a slug, but we are getting there. Unfortunately, the ramming and the torpedoes combined has really wrecked my fleet, and still alive down here. I was not expecting that, so we're going to move our unit around, see if we can take down this ship. He's got 1, he's capturing 2, he may have 3 if he captures this. It won't be enough, but he does have a unit to contest the northeast as well, and I am running low on ships, so we're going to go for the suicidal ram here. It's the only way to end the day as chaos, and that's a fire on board as well, fortunately, which is going to be just enough to set that ship ablaze, which gives us a nice boost of something like 170 points, meaning we only need a further 300, but we are getting pretty low. We do have an escort kicking around the south of the map, but looks like it's not going to be enough. So if he is able to get unit to the top left, I think he would be able to capture this back, but it does seem that unless he's got an escort there right now, that's probably not going to be the case. Haha, we do finally manage to strip all of the crew down. It doesn't seem that there is an escort nearby. We're going to go on the lock-on stance now, just so we can do a little bit of goddamn extra damage and boost our crit chance a little bit, send out the bombers and try and take this down. One escort chilling over there, not really been up to much recently. Probably could have put it to slightly better use. 800 points ahead, starting to feel a little bit more comfortable now. Even though we only own 1 point, we've been able to sort of sacrifice a little bit of map control. But I think it could have easily swung the other way if one of my ships just took an unlucky crit somewhere. Or maybe if my ship down south was nuked a little bit quicker, the enemy would still have 2 units right now, although I think it would be a little bit closer than this. But a very stressful game and a fun one still to play as well. Trick is with these boarding factions is really just to make sure you get to do all of the boarding, because, well, if you don't get to send all of the boarding out and all of the fighters, you basically not got very good value for money. So that's pretty much the thing to consider with fighters and carriers, etc. Maybe if you don't have a lot of money invested or credits invested into guns, don't try and get into a shootout with someone. Try and use all of the fighters if you can, if you're in a situation where you can use them effectively. Guys, have yourself a great day. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you next time.
Moving to those coordinates. Swift Death Squadron.